what is in the legislation, what will the commanders be held accountable to, and then how do you start to align your business, right, or you as an individual into that space? Because if you can't get work, what does the legislation really mean, right? So I'm gonna bring our small business technical assistance, Mr. Eldridge, up, and he's gonna talk about CBE. And what I want people, if you're not gonna be in the, it's two buckets, well, it's three buckets. It's the CBE bucket. You gotta decide, it's like, hey, am I gonna put all my chips in the CBE bucket? That means what people are encountering, that they're not getting the letters of standing and all these issues, that they can't be certified and in the CBE bucket ready to play. So if that's where you wanna focus, and that's your goal, focus on CBE. If you wanna line up in the DOE as first source, we talked about how we do first source in putting people on the site. They're gonna be held accountable in both buckets. And you have as a contractor, or you as a person that lives in Ward 7 in the District of Columbia, has to make that decision. What bucket am I gonna focus on? So we're gonna talk about our CBE bucket, and how the CBE, what we do to help CBEs, which means if you can walk in that door, and this is the help you can get to become CBE certified. I'll turn it over to Mr. Eldridge.
Thank you. I'm gonna talk a little bit about CBE. I'm gonna bend on a person that has a little bit more expertise in that, if he's willing to talk a little bit more from the DC government side. But CBE, again, Eldridge Allen, Director of Small Business Development Programs here at Marshall Heights. What does that mean? For those emerging businesses and those existing businesses, provide one-on-one coaching and counseling, resource identification. If we know where there's access to capital, then we make sure that you get access to that as well, as far as what the requirements are for applying for any microloans, funds of money, grants, and so on. Along with resource identification, a lot of times it's beneficial to have someone that has a little bit more expertise within the area. So if we're able to do mentor matching, so that you have somebody that can kind of help you along the way and learn, you know, their best practices and increasing your business, then we're going to make that connection for you. CBE, Certified Business Enterprise, is a designation that the DC government gives businesses. You'll see a number of different certifications out there. MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, Women-Owned Business Enterprise, and so on. DC doesn't have all of those different ones. Their main is CBE, all right? So that is to encourage more small, emerging, and medium-sized businesses in DC to be certified to do business in DC and with the DC government, all right? So while you're looking for a lot of different things out there, the main one and the only one that DC recognizes is CBE. And I do have someone here to kind of talk a little bit more about those. But it's making sure that, one, if you're in DC and you're doing business, that you're, you have all your ducks in order. You have all the things necessary. You don't owe any taxes. You have clean hands. You have all the registration requirements necessary to be a viable business in DC to do business as well, all right? So look at it as if you're looking to do some things on a large level, on a federal level. This is a stepping stone. If you can do business well in DC, now you're in a better position to do business or do contracting and do some bids on the federal level or either around the Beltway, all right? So some of the things that we're doing to help prepare our businesses, and when I say our businesses that are east of the river, Ward 7, ready for this opportunity, because this is in not only our back door, this is our front door. If you look at the way the boundary is done, it is in Ward 7. So we want to make sure that Ward 7 businesses take advantage of this enterprise being happening here. So we're putting together some preparatory measures, some prep development areas, workshops, informationals that we want to make sure that you have so that you can get your business up to a point where it can be looked at as a viable business to take advantage of some of the things that are happening there. So we're looking at readiness. So we're taking a survey of where your business is right now, so you can figure out exactly where your gap areas are, so you can figure out exactly those things you need to work on in a prioritized way. And then there will be a business health check. So if you understand where your business needs assistance in, where you need to fill in, toward the end of that, now you see, have you fill those in to the point where you can be seen as a viable business for some of the contracts that are there. Capacity, some businesses don't realize that there are certain codings that designate where they are. There's a national coding system. There's two of them actually called NICP. I need to figure out exactly what that is. I'm more familiar with NAICS code. That's North America Index for companies, I think it's company coding certification systems. A lot of people don't know that if you don't know what your code is, other people won't know where to find you inside of the system. So making sure that that's a part of your identification. And along with the capacity statement. So look at your capacity statement as almost like the one-page resume for your business, all right? Who, what, where, how, when, why, and how much should all be placed on your capacity statement. Making sure that your business is financially sound, so looking at your financial structure and your financial statements. Some businesses don't make it a regular habit of knowing their cash flow, their P&Ls, profit and loss statements, your statement of revenue and so on. These are basic things that talk about your business's finances. They're gonna look for those. And if you don't know what they are or have those in order, then you're gonna need to have that in place, all right? So we do have some subject matter experts, accountants, bookkeepers, and so on that can make sure that, look at where you are and make sure that you have those things, readily a part of your financial portfolio. So that you say, hey, I'm this strong and I'm able to handle this type of opportunity. Understanding exactly the bid process, all right? So we're gonna do workshops and informationals on that. Bonding and insurance. Businesses need to be bonded because if anything happens, they need to know that you have the resources necessary to travel through those crisis times, or that you are strong enough to have the insurance necessary for that type of opportunity or the services that you're offering. And looking at your legal structure, the proper licensing, permitting. Do you know how to create contracts and review contracts? Either you're gonna create or the other side is gonna create it, all right? So looking at exactly what needs to be put into a very sound contract and how it needs to be reviewable. Compliance and record keeping, and the marketing necessary. So you can look forward to that type of assistance coming from us to you so that you can be a stronger entity to look at some of these opportunities that are coming up. Keith, are you okay with talking a little bit more about compliance
Sure.
from your side?
Sure.
At the highest of levels.
On the highest of levels. Appreciate that.
How's everybody? Go Commanders, right? So my name is Keith Howard. I manage the Business Opportunities Division for the Department of Small Local Business Development. So if you're a CBE already, you probably know me, I would think, right, Keith? Right. So, at a high level, I think, Eldridge, you touched on all of it. But I think right now, what you wanna do, if you wanna be part of this project, is get ready now. That's a readiness now, right? So you have to take advantage of, first of all, there's a lot of help out there. So something like your NIGP codes. If you're a CBE and you haven't added codes in a while, you should be in front of us going, I need to add NIGP codes. How do I do it? Right? Because what we don't want is when things hit and work starts going, you don't have the codes. You're asking for work, but you haven't showed us that you can do it, right? And it doesn't happen like that, right? You request codes of our certification division. So we've got up to 45 days to approve those codes you're requesting, right? Now that could get into a license conversation, right? So you may be asking for a code that needs a certain license outside of your general and basic license, right? So do that stuff now and get the help now, right? If you don't know how to navigate all our screens and all of our different ways to do that, right? That's one. The other is bonding, right? Bonding. So if you're a CBE, there is a place where you should have filled out how much your bonding capacity is. When we look through there, we see most CBEs haven't done that, right? So either you have to get prepared for a bond. If you have no idea what a bond is, you should be reaching out to DSLBD and finding out, how do I get in front of this, right? we did put out an invitation today. We're having an event, October 29th, just on bonding. So this is who we invited. We invited 3 different bonding companies, right? 2 of which are CDEs, right? Then we invited a company called SFAA. I don't know what the acronym stands for, surety, But what SFAA does is they offer a platform just for CDEs only, where CDEs can go in and 1, get an advisor, right? 2, they can get a directory of who to bond with, so now you can engage that person, find out, what financial paperwork do I need? Get all of that now. Do those things now. This is not the time to be late. Be early on this transaction, right? So you can get that. The other things are really easy things. You heard elders talk about capability statements, right? So, gosh, I mean, I've reviewed so many capability statements, I could do it with my eyes closed, right? But you want your capability statement to look a certain way. He talked about different codes. You don't want it to say NAICS codes and you're going to bid on a job that is a district job. You want it to say NIGP code, right, Dawn? That's what you want. You don't want to be in front of the DC government talking about a NAICS code, because guess what? Now we have to convert it to NIGP code. I'll just give you the word because it's NIGP, you already got it. You got it in NAICS, so I know, right? So those type of things, those are easy to do right now, right? So our cadence is kind of this. Our cadence is training, right? So once, twice a month, we'll be doing training. Technical assistance, we're at the library. We're at the library as in a group setting on the 2nd Wednesday of the month, right? You have to register, no walk-ins. It's at the MLK library, right? Usually I'm the one teaching it, right? And then on the 4th Wednesday of the month, we'll take you one-on-one. You have to register through our website. So you want to take advantage of those trainings again, and I'm really talking to CBEs. Now, those of you in the room that are not CBE, I'm talking to you too, because you should be in front of us going, what is CBE? How do I apply? So we can get you moving and get you, because we want to do that, especially in, if you're a trade that what we would call mechanical trades, systems, we know already from other work in the city that may be a space for CBEs to really thrive, okay? So we know that already, so we want those companies. I'm trying to think what else, training, technical assistance, and then of course, any type of information sessions, right? So I usually run in and out of these all over the city, right? But we have it on a calendar for here, right? Because it's 4-7, right? We should be here, right? So what we've done, we've worked with Eldridge and his team, where it's almost like every other month. 1 month we'll come here and we'll do, right? And usually when we come out, we'll bring the Office of Tax and Revenue with us. Why are we bringing them? Clean hands. Don't let the clean hands kill you, right? If you don't know what a clean hands is, you gotta have a certificate of clean hands, which basically says what? And I'm gonna talk in lay terms. It means you don't owe the government any money. So don't get caught now, 6 months from now, when work is ready to go, and you can't even get a clean hands to put in your proposal. Don't let that happen to you, right? We also bring the Department of Licensing and Consumer Protection. Why are we bringing them? A, please keep your business license active. B, certain trades need certain licenses. So again, don't get caught where you think you're this trade, but you see there's work over in that trade, but the second trade needs additional licenses, right? So when you see us out and about, usually we'll have them, especially at our events, we'll bring those 2 agencies with us, just so you guys, it's like one-stop shop. So you don't have to jump all around the district trying to get help, okay? Lastly, let me throw out a couple emails. One is mine, everybody's got mine, so I ain't even mad. Keith.Howard@dc.gov. My brand is, I reply to all emails. I don't know what the rest of them do. I reply to all emails, right? Because I don't want you going back to my director and saying, well, I sent him an email and he didn't reply. That'll never happen to me, because I'm gonna reply, right? Second is my team's email. That might be a little faster than me. business.opportunities@dc.gov. Sure, Keith, Keith, .Howard, the number 3, that's important, because there are 3 Keith Howards. The number 3, don't leave that out, at DCW. Okay. Business.opportunities at dc.gov. And I'll just close this way. Marshall Heights has already been a great partner, right? We're meeting, I think, what are we meeting, bi-weekly, is it then, that we're meeting? Just to go over this, to make sure that there's no left behind, there's no stone unturned, and that the information gets out there, and that we're in front of it, that we're early on all things, all right? So I appreciate your time.
Okay. You have is there a couple questions? I mean, you got the subject matter expert here. Might as well answer the question. You have a question, just raise your hand. Again, this is an open forum. Absolutely.
So is there a way for either Marshall Heights or DSLBD to track how many businesses came to you, came through the program, and how many were actually successful in getting work?
I think that's yours.
Yes, that's a given. I mean, we're registering.
Okay, let's stand up and introduce
Oh,
yourself.
I'm sorry. I'm Deb Jones. I'm the Small Business Technical Assistance Counselor working with Eldridge. And of course, we're going to keep. But we will track everybody who comes through and, get all kinds of demographics and information. We have a business health check, but we will track you all the way through our whole program.
Alfonso?
How you doing, sir?
Just a question, in terms of Marshall Heights and businesses that you're working with, are you working with businesses strictly headquartered in, Ward 7, or have offices in Ward 7, or all small businesses?
So I'll step up and ask. So we don't discriminate. So if you are a business in the District of Columbia, we wanna make sure you're successful. But here's a little thing, our focus, right, is gonna be Ward 7, because when you read the legislation, that's the bulk of the emphasis, right? And we wanna make sure that we are aligned with the legislation. And again, I can't say this enough. You know, I've been in the business for over 40 years, and construction and all, and this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for Ward 7. It's a game changer. You don't get this kind of development in your backyard that we've been asking for years. I'm a district resident, I live in Ward 7, and I wanna see Ward 7 successful. So, I say that to say this, is that we'll take anybody in the city, but our focus is gonna be Ward 7. Go ahead.
Could you finish that part? Ward 7, only businesses headquartered or have offices in Ward 7?
So we're going to,
Right,
Go ahead, I'm going.
or just hiring Ward 7 residents.
So again, District of Columbia, will matter where you are in the District of Columbia. But our focus is going to be to meet the intent of the legislation as it sits on the shelf. So if the shelf says, hey, you have to be based in Ward 7, that's where we're gonna focus our attention on. Right. So, I have the chief of staff back there, I kind of whispered in her ear and said, do you wanna talk about the legislation? Not right now. But I think we first start on what does the legislation say? And then we hold everyone accountable to the legislation. But, here's the caveat. You gotta be ready, because here's what happens. This is my experience. So we were doing a project, I wanna say what, 1992 in Denver, Colorado. And some of this will be familiar with some people and foreign to others. But we were moving Stapleton Airport from Stapleton out to the new airport in Denver, Colorado. And this big decision came down the pipeline. Everybody started to react to it. It's called Richmond versus Croson. Anybody know Richmond versus Croson? I know you're around those, telling our age, aren't we? And what that said is, hey, we ain't doing this set aside stuff no more, because you have to prove that there's a pattern of discrimination. right? To get set aside for, you know, and people start setting up programs, MBE, CBE, WBE, you know, SBE, it was all these programs that were being set up. So, I say that to say this, is that what we found out is people weren't ready, and people who were ready got the job. People who were not ready, sat on the sideline. So these sessions we're gonna have with BSLBD, and it's a whole list on the flyer. We're gonna invite them in, you get to meet some associated builders contractors, Association of General Contractors, small business, a lot of three-letter terms you'll hear me talk about, you know, everybody's gonna be playing in this pool. And I'm just gonna be frank with you. You are at a severe disadvantage because they have bonding, they got lines of credit, they have relationships, they have marketing brochures. And they're so far ahead of the game. They come down when they have these conferences, they're down at the new center down there and shaking hands with the right people in DenPed. You have to be ready. And our job is to help get you ready. And you have to be either in the first source bucket or the seed bucket. Either you wanna get a job or you get a contract. But that's how the money's gonna roll.
So, my question would be, is what about the dreaming entrepreneurs that live in Ward 7 that wanna get started? I know Marshall Heights has programs, but how are we gonna work with DCLB and all of the other people that are coming in on this deal to help, you know, those people be successful?
So one of our jobs is, I call it the advocacy role, right? Is to bring the DSLBD here to you. And, my good friend walked in, he's a success story, I'm gonna get him up here to talk about it. Jonathan and team, right? And, Roscoe, he's been doing this for quite some time. So there's some techniques that you can use to actually make sure that you're there. And to answer your question, our role is gonna be advocacy. You know, we're not gonna compete with the contractor, but we're gonna say, hey, this is the agency that we think can provide you the most support. This is you, and this is the gap. These are the things you need to do to fill a gap. So everybody's not gonna drive down to the MLK library and get a ticket, right? Need it expired. We're gonna bring him here. This is where the jobs are. Hopefully we'll set up I call it a Skyland-like workforce center. We partnered with Skyland 20 years ago, Marshall Heights, Chris Smith, Gary Rappaport. Great relationship. And what we're gonna try and do is do a workforce-like, this is what I vision, right? Here, you know, so people that are boots on the ground can kind of come here. They don't have to catch a bus or train, Uber, and come here and maybe get a job. Or there may be something over there, but I think all that's kind of being worked out, and we're gonna work with our legislative branch, as I assured them that, to make sure that we have the resources to do it. It's good to have a dream, but if you ain't got no money, it's just a dream. So their job is to lobby, get the resources, our job is to execute. We're the execution arm. That is our job. That's what we've been doing for 45 years is we gotta execute. Gotta help you execute. And then we have to put a check on the bar and say, hey, that's a success story, talking to the mic. So.
You had one other thing, which was compliance.
Compliance, yeah.
I can touch on that
Yes, yes.
very quickly, high level. So again, my division is the business opportunity